the fire in a scapegoat is near impossible to put out. Although I have known a few scapegoats that died from scapegoat abuse, but nowadays there's so much resources everywhere that we can educate ourselves on the magnitude of this problem and take it more seriously. We can then save ourselves and empower ourselves. Today I want to talk about a characteristic of a scapegoat that needs to change. This, scapegoats have been isolated and ostracized from the rest of the family, and to a large extent from society at large, because it was by design. Our ostracization, our isolation was by design of the narcissist, and later it just became a part of our life. We feel isolated and we further isolate ourselves. So because of that, we can do almost anything because you're so incredibly independent. Because of this aloneness that we feel, we try so much harder to be independent, to be able to do everything by ourselves without having to ask for help. When I'm doing my DIY stuff, there are things that are either too big or too long, and I can't reach both ends. And, we figure a way to do it. Maybe we prop it up on a table, or we get a clamp, or we just get something that resembles another hand. And we get on with doing our stuff. And, there is a lot of pride in being able to do things by ourselves. Hell, if there was a World War III or a zombie apocalypse, I'm sure our scapegoats are not going to be fazed one bit about it. But the other day, I've installed mosquito netting on my dog's above-ground pool because I had dengue fever from a mosquito bite. But I am not terribly happy with it because it's a little bit inconvenient because we have to crouch and crawl into the pool. So I want to repurpose the netting and just cover up the entire backyard, like maybe make curtains out of the mozzie netting or something like that. And my spiritual brother and my spiritual sister, when I told them I was going to redo the thing, immediately they said, "Oh, we'll come over and help you." And just as immediately, like a knee-jerk reaction, I said, "No, it's okay, I can do it myself." You see, that is something that needs to change. When we have become so very independent, it is a good thing. It's a very good thing. But for us, we need to be able to accept help because it'll propel us further in our healing. It'll help us get to the life that we envision, but even better. Because when we envision a better life, I'm sure most of us figured out how to do it all by ourselves. Think how much better our lives can be if we accepted the help of other people. And this is why we have to remind ourselves. Because, everyone knows that our lives are much better when we accept help from other people. But so often we forget to accept it. Because the first thing we say is, "Oh, it's okay, thanks anyway, I can do it by myself." Yeah, of course we can do it by ourselves, but we don't have to. If we want to be even stronger, even more empowered, to manifest an even better life, then we have to accept help from others who are so willing to give it to us. And another thing is that, we had no choice but to take care of ourselves, to focus so hard on ourselves and our healing that when we get to a certain point where it's no longer about us anymore. We've been there, we've done that. People who want to help us, they feel good in helping us. So we have to remember that when we accept help from other people, we're not doing it for ourselves. Well, we benefit from it, but we're also giving them the chance to help and to feel good about themselves. And not only that, doing all this together is not just about getting something done. It's fun. Just order some food and drinks and make it a fun day. It's about bonding. It's about friendship. It really deepens the friendship. Real friends are not ones who are just with you when you're down. And real friends are not the ones who are just with you when you're up. Real friends are with you along the way as you go through this process, as we all go through this process. That is what meaningful friendships are about. I think it's good for scapegoats to learn balance. Maybe there was a time when you looked to any Tom, Dick, and Harry for help. Anyone who was willing to extend a hand to you, you would just grab it. I don't want to speak for all scapegoats, but there was a time when I would grab the hand of anyone, and I didn't have any sense of discernment. It was anyone who was willing to help me, and I didn't even know what kind of help I needed. I just knew I needed help. And of course, not everyone that came to help me was genuine. I got myself into a lot of trouble because I didn't know how to be discerning. And then I went through a time when I refused all forms of help. For me, I had to go to two extremes in order to know where the balance was. I'm not a person that sits under a Bodhi tree and be enlightened overnight or in 40 days and nights or whatever. I need to do as many things as possible in order to learn from it. For me, it's all about physical experiences. So I'm very glad that I went to both extremes. And the gap is getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And eventually, I will have almost perfect balance. And that is also part of knowing ourselves. It's part of knowing ourselves, knowing life and how to deal with things. So the next time someone offers to help you, just say yes. You can always think about it later and back out of it if you don't feel comfortable.